And to Ms. Salazar, I apologize for having us all have to speed up our clock here. It's sometimes just the nature of when someone else on the Democrat side cut their time short and didn't show up. Madam Speaker Pro Tem, as we start to go, we're going to walk through a couple things here. Part of this is actually going to be something I don't get to do that often. It's going to be actually optimistic with a potential solution that will functionally soak myself in kerosene and play with matches. But I come here every week and I'm incredibly terrified, I'm incredibly dour on what's happening in debt. So let's actually first set up part of this conversation. We are borrowing in the last 12 months, anyone want to give me a guess, how much do we borrow per second? Per second in the last 12 months? $63,000 per second is what the United States federal government is borrowing. And if you start to actually dig into it deeper, when you start to see stories popping up of cities like Chicago with $35 billion debt crisis coming, that $63,000 of borrowing is just the federal government. That does not include a bunch of the other types of pension obligations, which are another, I think we had one that was showing another couple dozen $1 trillion of obligations, now do municipal debt, now do state pension debt. Do understand, the debt monster is not just the fact that the United States functionally right now has, $32.5 trillion, and out of that, 26 trillion of that is publicly borrowed. That difference we try to explain is when the Treasury borrows from the trust funds, and the trust funds are given, so you're the Railroad Retirement Trust Fund, the Social Security Trust Fund. They're given sort of IOUs, but they're paid interest, and they have a functionally negotiable security that can only be cashed in with Treasury. So if anyone says, well, they stole the money, that's just not true. They just inter-borrowed, but they have the obligation. But in the coming weeks, probably when we get back from August, we're going to do a presentation on just the scale of borrowing. Do you remember the debates we had here on the floor, 2 years ago, of the multi-employer pension systems that were bankrupt? They had no money. And the brain trust around here, instead of fixing them, we just said, here's $135 billion, here's lots of cash, except even that money now has been pretty much burnt up.
So friends, are you all preparing for a government shutdown? Lawmakers are now suggesting that a House and Senate appropriations debate may ultimately lead to a government shutdown in just a few months, and your monthly benefits may be at great risk. My dear friends, please make sure that you watch until the end of this video. Also, this coming Friday, I will be announcing several more winners for the Walmart gift card giveaway. My dearest friends, please make sure that you enter the giveaways by clicking and liking several of my videos, and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you watch and then comment on, friends, the greater your chances of winning these giveaways. At the beginning of summer, debt ceiling news was inescapable, with many Americans wondering whether our government would default on its debts. The debt ceiling was all everyone could talk about, as the GOP tried to force President Biden and his administration to negotiate. And after weeks of resisting, the White House finally folded and bartered with the GOP. House Republicans used this leverage to end the extension of the former president's student loan payment pause. They also agreed to phase in new temporary work requirements for certain adults receiving food stamps, and also claw back $30 billion in unused crisis relief funding. According to experts, House Republicans again find themselves with leverage months later. If Congress does not pass a bill funding the government before the end of this September, many key agencies will shut down. Federal law stipulates that revenue bills, including the ones that fund the federal budget, must originate from the House of Representatives. This origination clause officially gives a party in control of the lower chamber disproportionate control of the purse strings. Right now, that is the GOP. For now, much of the power in the House of GOP belongs to conservative members who are willing to withhold their votes from key legislation, including many of the members of the hardline Freedom Caucus. This month, 21 Republicans, all of whom are in the Freedom Caucus, sent Speaker McCarthy a list of demands. The lawmakers want Kevin McCarthy to publicly reject certain funding bills and to not send all 12 spending bills to the floor until they pass through the committee. They also have demanded that Congress spend less than what was agreed to in the bipartisan law that suspended the debt ceiling. The warning is not one that Speaker McCarthy can take lightly. The GOP has only a 5-seat majority in the lower chamber. And if Democrats do not cross party lines, the government could shut down. The United States Education Department has already announced this past week that it will cancel $39 billion in federal student loans for more than 800,000 borrowers who were enrolled in loan repayment plans based on their incomes. The announcement came 2 weeks after the Supreme Court blocked President Biden's plan to cancel up to $20,000 in loans for borrowers who made less than $125,000 a year. So, dear friends, what are your thoughts about what's going on in our government? Please let me know what your thoughts are in the comments section below. Many Senate Democrats believe that Congress is heading towards a government shutdown this fall. Friends, but how would this government shutdown affect you? Remember, shutdowns do not come cheap. The last time the government was forced to close up shop for 16 days was in late 2013. It cost taxpayers $2 billion in lost productivity. Two earlier shutdowns, one in late 1995 and early 1996, cost the United States $1.4 billion. During a government shutdown, federal loans to small businesses come to a halt. The Small Business Administration discontinues the approval of loan applications and loan guarantees for small businesses, which usually amount to about $1 billion each month. So, for instance, in the 2013 16-day shutdown, approximately 700 applications requesting $140 million in small business loans were left unprocessed by the administration. Many government services and agencies will be temporarily suspended or scaled back during a government shutdown. This can affect services like national parks, passport processing, IRS assistance, and many more. Also, during a government shutdown, Medicare claims processing and payments will be affected, but the impact is typically limited compared to other government services. Medicare is considered an essential service, so some essential personnel responsible for processing claims and ensuring the program's functioning continue to work even during a shutdown. Fortunately, Social Security has its own funding source and will issue its usual checks. Medicaid should be able to pay out benefits, although it is possible that customer service and various administrative duties may be impacted by furloughed employees. U.S. families who receive food stamps will still receive their January benefits, even if the shutdown continues into the new year. Other nutritional programs like WIC and school meals will be able to continue operating on remaining funding. Well, to all my beautiful friends, that is the end of my daily stimulus update video for this weekend. My dearest friends, thank you so very much for being part of this community and for joining me here every single day. I will be announcing more winners this coming Friday and every Friday for the Walmart gift card giveaway. Please make sure that you enter these giveaways by clicking and liking several of my videos, and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. My dearest friends, the more videos that you watch and then comment on, the greater your chances, friends, of winning these giveaways. Thank you, and have a wonderful and very blessed week.